Okay, we're a couple of steps on now. We've got all the parts fitted for the Arduino. We were waiting for C23, which we had to order. That's now in place. We were waiting for one of the transistors, which is now in place. Now, unfortunately, when I got all the parts and I put this together, this space U1 is for the voltage regulator, which converts 12 volt to 5 for the Arduino to run. I noticed this was getting very hot and took it off, and unfortunately the ground and the 5 volt out was shorted, so that was getting very hot and the Arduino wasn't getting power, which resulted in the trace burning out. You can see how the trace has blown its cover off there. Now, I have tested with the meter and everything that should be connected still is. So this part, this wire I've put in is basically to replace the trace that was missing. So the wire here goes onto the voltage converter, that's the 12 volt, and it does ohm out, going everywhere it should do for the injectors. The problem we have now is that these two pins, the middle one is the ground and the one to the left is the 5 volt out. Now, we do have a short on that which we need to trace. So the 5 volt out, from what I can see, this part, just gonna hold the board up. Okay, I've got the meter on continuity so we can hear it beeping. So if I go from ground to 5 volts, I get a short. So this is the capacitor, which is shorting without the capacitor being installed. And so this one without the capacitor being installed. So somewhere that ground is shorting to the 5 volt out. So that's what we need to locate. And I'm not sure we can do it without removing these pins, which I don't want to do because they've been out once already. And I'm not sure what more heat is actually going to do to them. So let's take a look on the other side of the board first and see if we can see anything that might be the cause. It's quite difficult to see this, but just here is the negative connection and this one is the 5 volt one. But I'm not sure what this trace is here. I'm going to scrape that back a little bit if I can do and just take a look at what's going on. I'll come back when I've managed to do it. I have to be quite delicate. So I managed to get a picture of a circuit board today and where the tracks lead to. So our 5 volt line, which shorts to earth, appears to just go to the 2 pins that you can see on the left hand side here. So it should be connected to those. What it also does is go down here to these 3 pins, one of which is 5 volts. Now, along that track is this diode, which I've just measured D5 there, and in circuit it's showing us faulty, so I'm going to remove that and see if we've still got a short. Okay, so you can see that I've just lifted one leg on that. I'm now going to meter the board again and see if we still have the short on that 5 volt line. Okay, so we had a short between there and there, which is now gone. So we've rectified the problem. Excellent news. Let's just test that diode now. It's out of circuit. So it's short that way. And it's short that way. So diode D5 is what was causing our problems. Really pleased about that. It was quite annoying that I couldn't find where it was. Okay, we'll look at the parts list, see what that is and see if we have one. Okay, all the parts that we had to order for the Speeduino have now come in. So the board is fully assembled with all the capacitors, and I actually got a new voltage converter. I think the old one may have been okay, but because of the repair that we had to do on the track at the back of it, I didn't want to chance it. That repair is all good, nothing shorted out. Got some conformal coating back over it. Speeduino is pressed on fully. What I did do, I noticed on the Speeduino that we're actually using, you see these header pins do actually stick up quite far. I didn't want those touching the bottom of the board. So the one that I've put on the unit now, I've actually cut those pins off and taped over them. So we've got the Arduino unit all assembled and ready to fire up. I've also connected some sensors for the coolant temperature and the throttle position. The only variable resistors I had lying around were PlayStation control joysticks. So I've wired those up, and this is set up as an Arduino stim, which basically mimics a crank and cam signal so that we can test the unit and see how it goes. So I'll pop you in the stand and then we'll take a look.